data scientist is the #1 sexiest job in the world. It actually jumped up from position 10 last year to #1. So, my God, I can't believe that I'm now considered to be sexy. But anyway, it's come a bit late in life for me. So the phone obviously knows how long you're speaking to whoever, your mum, for instance. It knows what music you like to listen to. It knows where you work, and if you forgive me for saying this, it actually knows who you're going to bed with at night as well. We're all familiar with is things like Fitbit, smart watches that determine your activity levels. So that's everything about you, being quantified, digitized. Pals who are heavily into cycling and that are very fond, putting up on websites their trials that they've been doing over the weekend and compare that with other people. And even you can have, intergeography trials, virtual trials. So here's sensors generating tons of data, but again, it's the insights that you're given in that quantified self actually that is where the real gold and use. So all those ones that we've talked about before have been based on physical or hardware sensors. But there are web-based sensors, these soft sensors. So for instance, when you use a website, obviously how you use it, how long you dwell over a page, what you choose, what you don't choose, that's a sensor, that's gathering information. So you'll have heard me mentioning the CEDA Centre, which was set up by Enterprise Ireland and the IDA, and it's the National Centre for Applied Data Analytics. So we've got a very extensive collection of companies, probably 35 to 40% of the big blue chip company names that you'd probably see there and recognise. But really what we're all about is we're a market-led centre. So in other words, we work only on the challenges that our industry members bring to us. And we're all about the deployment and development of analytics technology for the competitive advantage of those companies. So I mentioned about the data scientist being a unicorn, and that horse with a spike in its head was my attempt to make a unicorn. But unicorn is supposed to be one of these mythical beasts that no one has ever seen, but they are known to exist, at least in the stories of the fairies.
Television wasn't 24 hours a day, so you may well be familiar with test cards like this. Some of the biggest programs of the day would be something like Dallas, for example. For those of you who recall, when JR was shot in Dallas, when they were about to reveal who did it, the security that had to accompany the data tapes when they brought it from the US into Europe, in terms of how TV audience measurement works. But actually, the biggest usage is in terms of the advertising industry. So the data that is produced as part of these measurement services is the currency involved in terms of buying and selling commercial airtime on television. So between the media agencies and the media owners. Now, firstly, what would happen is you have a box that looks something like, to be frank, a 1980s alarm clock, would sit on top of a television or near a television and be connected to the set, so you know exactly what's happening on the set at any one point in time, what's being viewed. What that doesn't tell you is who's viewing. So the next thing you have is you have a little remote control that has a personalized button for every single person that's viewing. And what people do is they press their button when they're in the room, and that gives you the number of people who are viewing, the identity, their demographics, and things like that. So you put those two together, suddenly you know what's being viewed, who's viewing, and how many. So you start with large samples. What you then do, that enables you to understand more information about the universe, but what you then do is take a subsample of those people and we try and recruit them onto our electronic measurement panels. What you then have is a panel potentially of 1,000 homes. So, and at that point, a program like Dallas would have had a huge audience and a huge share of that audience. But things have changed. Television is now video, is a plethora of devices and a plethora of platforms. That people watch more video now than they ever have done before. But they consume it in the way that they want it, on the devices that they want it. If you look at the fact that, firstly, the most important thing to note is that the television set is still of crucial importance. Still 92% of people were viewing on a television set. But clearly, some big changes in terms of the way in which people are consuming video content.
dislike what I say, but all it means is we try to make sense of this data and discover patterns and in your behavior and the opportunities, the most ideal opportunity to interrupt your day with a harmless message. Would you like a bag of crisps? Deep learning is to be granted in our world is new to us in terms of visual and natural language recognition. We have just really started in that area, but that is what's coming next. And it was interesting in terms of call center and understanding that. It is something we're discussing with some of our clients right now. So that will help us get even more relevant when we talk to you. So these every day, granted, in advertising, you may think, if this is working so great, what's with all the noise? And why are we where we are today? Why haven't we progressed any further? Well, in the world of advertising, this is fairly new to us. As I said in the beginning, we are traditionally used to telling stories. And what we've been working on here now, that is something that we've been doing approximately for the past 3 years. So it's relatively new, but bit by bit we get better at this. And when we get more talent in, the better we will get.
But we've always had it, and this book by Andrew has talked very well on how to deal with it, not just from a processing point of view, but also a communication point of view. So I highly recommend that book. I'm just going to give you a couple of his sort of suggestions on how to improve communication in the data analytics area. So keep it short words, short sentences. Don't try and prove things with your strong vocabulary. Rounding. Numbers are easier to read down than across. Very simple thing, but the mind just takes that in easier. And control for the fog factor. If you're writing a sentence which has 3 words in it that are more than 3 syllables, you're into that foggy area. The last behavioral quality that can really promote your success in this area is working in a team spirit, or having that team spirit. I've worked with a lot of guys and girls who are very good with numbers and have told me straight out, I just want to work by myself. I work best by myself. And that won't get you far in the corporate world. It is all about teamwork. It's connecting to your fellow colleagues, connecting to your peers, people that report to you, and the people who you report to. And that all comes from a team spirit.